Welcome to the Childcare Director's Chair, the podcast for bold educators who are ready to lead, grow, and shake things up in early childhood education. Whether you're a teacher eyeing that lead role, a lead stepping into leadership, or a center owner dreaming big, this is your space to grow with purpose and leave your mark. Hosted by heart-centered leadership coach Erica Sacoccio, each episode brings you real talk, actionable tools, and a contagious laugh or two, all designed to help you step into your next level with confidence. So pour your coffee, pop in those earbuds, and take your seat, because your leadership journey starts right now in the Childcare Director's Chair.
Hey guys, it's Erica here with the Childcare Director's Chair podcast. So excited you are here today. We are joined with the guest today, and we're going to talk about something that's not always so fun, but we're going to try to make it fun because you know what's coming. You just don't know when. And that's right. We're talking about those unannounced licensing visits. For some directors, the thought of it just sends them in a tailspin of panic and paperwork, but not you, not after today's episode. So we're going to spill the real tea on how to ditch the dread and walk into your next surprise visit like you've been expecting them all along.
Yes.
Now, spoiler alert, excellence does not need a heads up, guys. So we are joined today with an expert. I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. You might know her from social media, but go ahead and tell folks about yourself, honey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ronnie Williams. Many of you may know me as the State Lady on Instagram and TikTok. I am a former childcare licensing consultant for the state of Georgia. So with me being a licensing consultant, I've done it all: the unlicensed investigations, the complaint investigations, incident investigations, monitoring visits, regular licensing studies. What else is there? Change of ownerships, and amendments if you ever wanted to make your program bigger or smaller. I've pretty much done it all.
So you might know a thing or two about what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
And I love that you're in Georgia. I'm trying to go to Georgia in the next couple of weeks. Totally off topic, but I love your aquarium there.
It's so beautiful.
I'm trying to bring my grandson to Georgia, so I'm going to try to make that happen.
Yes.
So guys, let's talk about it. Like, let's start with your mindset shift. Like, how do you shift from fear to confidence when you know a licensing visit can happen at any time? You got any tips for the folks? Because I know they get all stressed out.
They get all stressed out. I think the first thing that people need to realize is it's a person entering your building, right? It's a person. No one is nervous about a tour, but a parent is critiquing your space, right? No one is worried about anyone else that comes. Like, they get visitors. Everyone wants the county commissioner and the chamber of commerce. Come to my school. Come to my school. They are judging you too. So at the end of the day, remember, the person coming to your program is just another person. 2, erase the idea that they don't like you because they're looking for something wrong. It's their job to look for something wrong. We love a food inspector. We love a food inspector. We read that score when we go to eat with no guilt on our conscience. We don't look at why they got an 80, right? If they got an 80, we just rule it off. But if they say they got a 90, we'd still eat there, right? We don't beat up the 90 students. So at the same time, just remember, there's always going to be a little bit of space for a mistake, and you're still okay. People still will bring their child to your program, even if you have a 90, right? Because at the end of the day, it's how you made them feel. Some of our favorite restaurants, and I'm going to talk about myself. I love Zaxby's, okay? They do no wrong in my eyes. But I know Zaxby's does not have 100%. I know some of them probably do not have a 90, right? But that has not stopped me from going there, because every time I go there, they make my fries to utter perfection. And that's really what childcare is. It's how you really made someone feel. And then the fact that you're ensuring that they're safe, right? That's really the reverse of how people look at it. How you made them feel, and then the service that you provide. Because even if you make a mistake, we've all made it, a parent will forgive you. because parents, they have mistakes with their kids too. But it's when they feel like you love them that they're not going to call state because there was an incident. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, it does. My niece, she had said something that always stuck with me. She said at first, all the directors would be nervous. And she said, then one day I just said to myself, they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like
Yep.
me. And I was like, Dad, you so funny. I was like, I think she was super young at that time. Maybe she was in her 20s. And she's like, yeah, at first I'd be nervous, but then I just thought about it. And I was just like, they're the same as me.
I mean,
But
half of them have worked in childcare. Half of them
yes,
have children in childcare. They have a relative in child. They're honestly, I mean, you hear the horror stories, but in most cases, most licensing consultants are the most down to earth people.
yeah, yeah. I think to have a different mindset of like that we're on the same team. Like we're
We
like
are.
if you're right, if you are a good child care owner, business, steward of your business, you want quality in your program. So
Right.
you're on the same team. It's the people who get nervous should be the ones that right? Because there's a mistake. Whether you're doing something right or not right, right? You
Right.
know it's a regulation or not. It's not a surprise. The regulation didn't just poof in thin air. So right? But yes, of course, there might be a mistake. You might have an employee who didn't put the bleach bottle in the cabinet but didn't lock it, right? Still out of reach of the child, but it's got to be locked, right? So
Right.
yeah, those things are going to happen because we're dealing with human beings, but sometimes it's just a set of fresh eyes too to say, maybe is there a system that we have in place that isn't quite doing the job, right?
Right.
So what daily or weekly systems do you think that we need to have in place to keep the center inspection ready?
One, I think that there should be some type of meeting schedule with all the staff. I think that during staff meetings, rules should be discussed. If they got a visit, they should talk about things that happened in the visit with the whole school. A lot of people do the citation talk with the classroom that got the citation, but at the end of the day, everyone should be familiar with what's going on in the building. You don't have to single out Miss Teresa that she
Yeah.
left the cabinet unlocked, but at the end of the day, everyone should have the discussion about locking cabinets, making hazards inaccessible, part of everybody's conversation. That should be in a staff meeting. And then don't only talk about things that are you've been cited for. Look at other programs in your community, see what they got cited for, and make sure you're not doing that too. We learn our best from other people's mistakes. So being familiar with what other people are doing and kind of learning what your consultant may have an eye for. I know people are like, they're all different. It's not that they're different. Some people just have a different eye for something because that's where they're stronger, right? Like me, SIDS, there's no cutting corners with me on SIDS. Some people, they may be like, it's okay that this sheet isn't like stretched to the brim of the cotton, right? Like it's a little loose. Like me, no, that seat it needs to bounce. Like I need a
Yeah.
tight sheet. Some people playground, that's their thing. So I will say cover all the rules. Don't make just your meetings about things that you've only done wrong. Make sure that your staff is learning the rules across the board, no matter how many years of experience they have, go over and talk about the rules. And then I also feel like there needs to be some type of accountability in each room. So maybe like some type of checklist for your classroom, like maybe when you shut down, did you make sure cabinets were locked? Did you make sure like different things that hold staff accountable for their room so things don't build up, right? Maybe you had a little part where the paint was chipping, you've ignored it for a month, and now the whole wall is chipping. So making sure that staff know to check their rooms, definitely some type of daily playground checklist. Playgrounds should be checked, in my opinion, all throughout the day. Teachers are responsible for the playground. Management is responsible for the playground. The playground is everyone's responsibility. So I definitely feel like some type of checking system would help people master the walkthrough, because if you know something is tearing apart, especially if you keep hearing about it, you want to get that little noise out of your ear. If you know your fence is, someone keeps saying, hey, the fence, and then another teacher comes and says, hey, the fence, that lets management know, like, we need to get this fence thing situated. But let's say you don't. When you get cited for it, you're not as mad because you knew that it was there and it was something that you didn't work on.
Yeah. So your advice is definitely have a strong morning walkthrough at your center.
Walkthroughs.
For sure.
Ongoing walkthroughs. Like, don't make it once a month, don't make it once a month. And I feel like you should have a day that you do it, because if you put something on your schedule, you're more likely to lock in on doing it. If you keep saying it, I'm going to do it this week, it'll always get passed on into another day.
Yeah. One of the things that we do at our program is we do compliance visits. So we do it in two different ways. We'll do one time where it's kind of more like a brand visit, just walking through and like in the eyes of a parent. And then the other time we do it, it's like the eyes of the state, if you will. And we took our state's form that we know that the worker is using, and we will walk through and use that. And then while the directors flip sites or have I own a center, well, I run a center, my sister runs one, and we'll go to each other's site, because sometimes you just need a
fresh
eyes. You need that fresh set of eyes. Yeah. So where do you see most directors slip up when it comes to compliance documentation or safety checks?
Oh my gosh. Do we have time for that? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. For one, I think it's the enrollment paperwork. People are so ready to hire, so ready to bring children in the building, that they're just letting some of the paperwork be incomplete. I do mock visits as like a service to people. Like, I'll come in and do like a walkthrough, check their files and everything. I'll get to the staff file. They have their name, birthday, social. They sign at the back that they don't have that little part about criminal records and they're physically able to do the job. Sign their name, barely date it. Orientation, they just scribble, sign at the bottom. I know that director saw that. And if she didn't, shame on her. There's no work history. There's literally, it's just a blank job application. You need to know where they used to work, right? That should have been part of the interview anyway, but it needs to be documented where that person came from. But so often you just see the blank application. Same thing with the children's enrollment form. And it's always allergies left blank. It's always that part about this. I feel like every state has this, because so far everyone's like, yes, it's allergies. And that part about special needs or disability, always left blank. And the emergency contact. And I get it. No one's from where they live anymore, right? Like, you're from Georgia, but you're from New York. Like, I get it. But you have to have an emergency contact. Someone needs to be able to get in contact with you or try to get in contact with you in the event of an emergency. Allergies, you need that as a center. You need that for your own legal protection, right? Because a parent will say they told you, and you really don't know. It's not written anywhere. It's now your word versus theirs. And then this whole thing about disabilities. A lot of parents don't want to acknowledge it. I get it. We're in a hard time right now with classifying children as special needs, or however you want to label it. But if there's nothing, it should be documented as nothing.
Yeah.
So I feel like the paperwork is where so many mistakes happen, or just so many areas for a citation. Same thing with medication. Everybody has allergies now. I think growing up, no, everyone ate nuts. Everyone played outside. It was just the way that things are. But now we have so much medicine coming into schools, and it's just sitting. It gets to the point where it's honestly expiring, and it's still sitting inside of programs. So I do think that's like one of the main things that's so controllable. Paperwork, for sure, is where a lot of directors fall short. And I think a lot of directors are so burnt out for being in the room, they forget to go back. They forget how they felt in that room. They forget what it's like to wait for a bathroom break. And even though it's justified as to why you're making someone wait for the bathroom break, because someone did throw up, someone did call out with her, like something happened, but not giving the teachers the respect of giving them the why. I'm coming. I'm so sorry. Johnny threw up on me. I'm so sorry. A parent called and she was just really upset. Please go to the bathroom. Like I think a lot of times directors do kind of forget how they felt in that room, and they don't give teachers that acknowledgement, and then the teacher just feels unseen, unheard, not respected. And I think that's where that feeling of my center doesn't care about me is coming from, because they're not getting the whys from their leadership.
Yeah. Um, how do you recommend that folks train their team to respond to licensing reps professionally but truthfully, even if something isn't perfect?
I think how you're saying the mock walkthroughs, I think they need to get used to someone coming in their room, staring at them, and just getting used to that feeling. I know when I worked in a center, I hadn't had a state visit. She always came when I wasn't there. Like she would come either late. I taught Georgia pre-K. So she would come late in the afternoon, or she would come on like a day where I had training. So I wouldn't see her. And I remember the first time she came in, I had heard so much about her, I kind of froze. Like,
Yeah.
well, can I help you? Like, what do you want? And I think if you give if you give your teachers the expectation of what's going to happen, there's not a mystery. Like someone's going to come into your room. It's
Yeah.
okay to say hi to them. They're going to ask you questions. They may look at you, but continue to keep the kids as your priority. Walk them through what it's like, so they're not, it's like, you walk in a room the first day of school, you're like, do I put my book back down? Do I find a seat? Who do I sit next to? It's that anxiety of not knowing what to do. It's similar in a licensing visit, letting them know like what to expect, but tell them don't be afraid. Don't be angry. There's this culture of hating state. Do not hate this person. At the end of the day, that may be a person that can be a resource to you. In my case, that was a person who helped me get a job. Like my state person, she actually introduced me to the job opportunity. I didn't even know they were hiring. I didn't even know how to apply. So I will say, just look at them as a resource. Look at them as not your coworker, but someone that you can collaborate with.
Yeah. I feel like we've had both sides here in Rhode Island. I've been in the field a long time. We are now licensed through DHS, which I 100% feel like it's a resource. We used to be licensed by DCYF, and that didn't feel like a partnership. That felt different.
Yeah.
So I do think too, as I look through Facebook groups and see people say like there are certain states that are a little bit known to be, I don't want to say tougher, but just have a different connotation of like not a partnership. It should be a resource because we're
Right.
all caring for children, right? I think the other thing too is most states have a quality rating system now.
Yes.
And so they also come in and they're watching you with clipboards and observations. So I think at this point we should, kind of be used to visitors coming in and just getting a snapshot of what it is that we're doing. Do you recommend, actually, you know what? I'm going to go back to that really quick. This is something my director is going to laugh to listen to. One of the things I am absolutely insane about is keeping the director's desk clean, clean and clear at all times. And they're like, God, you're so like I promise you, if I walk in and there's a pile of paperwork anywhere on that desk, I will take it and put it in your work bin. And they're like, oh, where's my, I said, it's in the work bin. I said, this desk needs to be ready for an inspector at any time. They need a place to work. They need a place to be able to look through your files. They need to be able to get through any of the paperwork, which is normally in the office, at any point, at any time, and they need a workplace.
Yes.
And this is it. So keep it clean.
Yes. But you have to keep it clean.
I stay ready.
You have to stay. Here's the thing, because like I know a lot of times people talk to me about like the paperwork, and one of the things that I talk about when I train people about organizing their paperwork is giving state what they need, still being organized, still having files, but only giving state what they need, because so often for teacher files, everything just goes in this one folder, right? So if you wrote someone up, if you fired them, if you rehired them, whatever is going on, it's in that file. When you have these chaotic desks, I know for me, like sometimes it's hard. Like if I'm going through the paperwork and it's spread out, I may accidentally
Go.
touch something that I'm not supposed to touch. And I assure you, it's going to be Miss Denise's write-up, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be something that you handled in-house. You were praying state never found out about anyway. It wasn't a required report, but it was kind of bad, but it fell within that safe gateway.
Yeah.
Well, now I know about it, right?
Yeah.
I now know that Miss Denise had a very aggressive interaction with Johnny, okay? And now we got to talk about it because from reading it, I don't know, you know?
Sure.
And so it's very important that you keep your desk clean and organized so that all I see is what you need for me to see.
Yeah. My sister is super organized. And so she made this thing probably about 7 or 8 years ago now. And she has a binder that's literally just for licensing. She goes, our directors are sprinting around, especially like we have school age. They're sprinting around. They're running out to the van to get the copy of the registration and the insurance and, you know, all those things. They're like, run it. She's like, no, no, no. We're going to do this. So she put together this binder and it's literally like just in order of, here's the registrations, here's the insurance, here's the inspections, here's all these things.
I love those.
And a lot of states have also moved to electronic, right? We're in Rhode Island. A lot of our staff paperwork now is in this program called Rises. So the worker can look at all of your staff files before they even come to your center. They get
that's amazing.
Right at their office. Yeah. So all of the criminal checks, all your paperwork that's required for your worker is already uploaded.
Oh, that's amazing.
Look at it. Yeah. So it's almost 100% in compliance, like as far as that's going to be the thing. Even when you renew your license, it's all going to be done through that one system. So everything's in that one spot.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, yes.
Because we go through paper in Georgia. We are trudging. We are in the trenches.
Well, I have to tell you, like I said, our DHS, our state licensing folks they're really very much like a partnership. They said, how can we make this easier for you and easier for us? And so yeah, they're a great state to work with. So how do you balance being authentic and friendly without making sure that your staff knows to take unannounced visits, seriously? What do you recommend? Because
I always say just keep it cute, like say good morning and keep an ear out for her. But that's really all you need, like she's going to ask, he or she, because there are men that do this, he or she will ask for what they need, right? You don't have to hover. You don't have to keep saying, do you need anything? But make sure you're accessible. Like I know, like especially for states that still do paperwork, it's a lot, and I know for me, like I don't like to run people. So I would kind of keep a list of things that I know that I didn't find. So that way, when the person came to check on me, I can ask them for everything versus tying up someone's time with all these tasks that could possibly be in one space. Like, again, I worked at a center. I've been in management. I know how a state visit takes you away from your business. So I was always conscious of making sure that I got what I needed from someone while they were there. Now, if you never come and check on me, you don't give me the chance to let you give me the things I couldn't find, right? So I would say be cordial, but don't hover. At the end of the day, if they need anything, they will ask. And just be friendly, like you don't have to offer them, a catered meal or anything delivered. In most cases, they won't take it anyway. But just saying good morning, identifying who is going to be there to support them. Don't just assume your state person knows you're the owner or the director. In most cases, even if they've been to your program before, they see a lot of programs. And so they may forget that Miss Denise is the director. You had braids last time I came. Like, I don't remember you anymore. So just making sure that your consultant knows who to look for and that person is identified. So Miss Denise, have Miss Denise come in so I can remember, okay, the lady with the green shirt and the braids, that's one of my contacts. The lady with the white shirt and the ponytail, that's who I contact. So that way they know how to get things from you when they need them. but definitely no hovering. Like, I
Yeah,
just feel
no
like you
hovering.
stress yourself out trying to follow
Yeah.
them through the walkthrough, looking at every child's file that they're working on. You're stressing yourself out and you're making yourself uncomfortable. And now you're putting it on the state. Like, she wasn't talking to me. She's looking at
Yeah.
your files. She
Yeah.
can't talk. And I know me, I can't talk and review your files. Talking
Yeah.
will win. And then I'm in your program all day. Then I see on Facebook that you're like, my state lady was here all day. I hate it when they tie up my day all day. Well, don't talk to me. Don't talk to
Don't
me.
talk to
And
me.
then I can concentrate.
Yeah. What advice would you give a brand new, oh, so sorry. What advice would you give a brand new childcare director who's experiencing their very first visit?
Sit through the whole thing, like take it all in. Ask your questions, right? Be prepared and be ready to keep the relationship, right? Some things you're going to learn in your inspection that you didn't know about. Like, you may be cited about something that you didn't know, or maybe it was something that you did know. Build that relationship. Ask the consultant, like, hey, tell them I'm new and I really want to make sure that my next visit, I master it. And let them know I'm going to email you with any questions that I have coming up. Make sure that they have your information so that they can send you updates as they happen. I think a lot of times when people change leaderships, because directors, that's kind of a turning role. Make sure that your state person has your contact information. So as
Mm,
newsletters, new information, updates, rule revisions, whatever, you're constantly getting communication.
yeah.
And just let them know, like, I'm really trying to do the right thing. Don't hold your state person hostage in your office, right? It's a difference between having an engaging conversation and you dumping on your person, right? Because consultants are people too. And I think people forget it's 20 of y'all in a building and one state person. And
Mm,
I know in Georgia, we've had people's cars get vandalized. Like, you've had things happen. So I would
yeah.
just say, build the relationship, but let it be professional. Like, talk to them, go over the entire report, parts that you don't understand, definitely ask for clarity, but make sure that you let them know that you're going to be a part of this partnership of making sure that you're compliant. Make sure they have your contact information, make sure you have theirs. Email them with questions, follow up, let them know, even if you don't have to let them know that you made the corrections, let them know that you made the corrections. It helps build the relationship.
Yeah. I think too, if you're a brand new director, I'm going to give you my 2 cents. If you're a brand new director, don't wait for the visit, the unannounced visit, because they're there to do that particular thing.
Right.
I'd say if you're a new director, you're already going to know who your worker is because you have an assigned worker, right? Ask the owner, who's our assigned worker? Send an email and say, I'm the new director. I'd
Right.
love to, I have some questions on XYZ, or, here's what I want you to know about me. Is there anything I need to know? Like, and look at your last inspection,
Yes. Look at the
and
last one.
you're gonna know, yeah, you're gonna know where your program's weak spots were, and make sure that those things have been corrected because maybe the other director didn't correct them.
Right.
So, even if you use that as your, hey, I'm the new director, I noticed on the last, visit, this is what you found. Here's how we've corrected it. Look forward to meeting you at our next visit, whatever. But make those relationships. And yes, at the visit, but if you can do it before, I
Yeah.
feel like that's really beneficial.
Yeah, because like you
Um,
said, when they're there, it's game time, right? There's
yeah.
no really development happening. I think you're learning, so you're developing the experience of a visit, but you can't really have some of those conversations on could we, should we, when it's happening. So I that's a good suggestion beforehand if you have that information.
So since we have you and you've done all the things, I'm going to ask you a question, and you might not be able to answer. I don't know, but no names to protect the innocent. But maybe
Yeah.
what's the worst licensing visit that you ever had that like didn't go well?
There's so many. It's funny. I'm like new to TikTok. I love it over there. And I did a live. And that was one of the questions someone came up to ask questions. And one of the worst things, I think the worst thing you can ever see is death, you know?
Oh
I think
gosh, yeah.
that's like the worst thing. And fortunate, I didn't see the actual death take place,
Hmm.
but to have to talk about it. That's something that'll always sit with you, whether you know the family or not.
Yeah.
Talking to someone who's lost their child is literally one of the most emotionally pulling things I think that you can experience. I think secondly would be a child that just got an injury. They're alive, but maybe they broke their femur. They broke, what is this, your clavicle. Some of these
Mm-hmm.
serious head injuries from falling, those are hard. Just on the outside, because again, we don't get to witness it happen, but talking to families after something like that happens, talking to teachers after something like that happens, definitely pulling. And then just from things that I've actually interacted with, I think bugs. I think seeing the amount of live activity that takes place in a space that serves children food, that's always hard. Or the lying, where you see things hidden, you see children being moved from room to room, or all placed on the playground, or those are hard. I feel like there's so many bad things in this role, and people always say, like, I got a new state person, I got a new state person. That's a hard job, and I think a lot of people don't realize that that person honestly sees a lot of bad in a day, a lot of bad within a week. To know a child got their finger amputated in a door, or to know that someone fell and got a concussion, or to learn there's roaches in the infant refrigerator where the bottles are stored, or teachers are fighting in classrooms, or, to get that every day. And then you go into a center and you try to support them, and then they blow up on you, and you're like, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
And people hate you for doing your job. But at the end of the day, what else are you supposed like what are you supposed to do? Like, our job is to find things that are wrong and bring it to your attention so you can stop. But to answer your question, it's a lot of I can't even think of like my worst visit ever. I've had a lot. Like, there's a lot where you just kind of go home and you just sit for a second. Like,
Yeah.
gosh, you ponder on that family. You ponder on that child. Like, how will that affect them years later? I don't know if I'm one of those people that's too emotional, but I think about
Oh,
kids afterwards. Like, you think about it afterwards, like, man, even if they get disenrolled, like, they lost their finger today. Like, how as they grow will that finger develop?
yeah.
That scar on their face 5 years from now, will it be more subtle? You see a
Yeah.
lot. Like, you see a lot. I
Yeah.
can't tell you one bad visit, but I think the worst thing I could ever see is, I guess, a death, because
Yeah.
there's no coming back from that.
Yeah. That's probably why you are, like you had said earlier, how you are about SIDS.
Yeah.
And
That's my first visit.
that's yeah, that's very telling. So yeah, we're all obligated to do our very best humanly possible to make sure that children are safe. So yeah,
Yeah.
sorry if somebody's offended by that, but that is our job and our duty. Um, as we start to wrap up, what are a few things that directors should stop doing right now if they want to feel more confident and prepared year round?
Stop using your years of
Stop.
experience as the qualifier. In childcare, we're never done learning. We are never done. We're never the masters of it all. Always be learning. Always learn more about everything, about management, about feeding children, about nutrition, USDA, about how to organize your files. Just always know that there's a way that you can just continuously improve. Like, don't box yourself in and be like, this is how I am going to be a director. Always be ready to learn, always be ready to hear someone else's input, because this field 10 years ago, 5 years ago, like, how we operated with COVID is not how we
Yeah.
operate now. How we
Yeah.
operated even 2019 is not how childcare evolves honestly every year, and just
Mhm.
be open to all the changes that may come, all the things that you may learn. Just don't box yourself out of learning.
That's great
Don't
advice.
beat yourself up if you make a mistake. We are humans, right? Like, learn from it and keep going. Don't beat someone else up for a mistake, right? We all make them. Like, we literally all make them. I know when I do trainings and even when I present, I tell people all the bloopers I made in a classroom, right?
Yeah.
But I never made them twice. You know,
Yeah. Learn from
you
that
just,
mistake.
you learn
Yeah.
from each mistake.
I think that's too where working as a team really comes and helps, right? Because if like I walk in your classroom, you might not notice that you didn't lock the cabinet, but you don't need licensing to say that. It could be your partner be like, "Oh, hey, just a reminder, we got to lock this cabinet. I noticed
Right.
it was, it wasn't locked." So, holding yourself accountable and your teammates accountable. So, thank you so much for sharing so much
Thanks for having me.
insight. Yes, of course, because let's be real, those words like "Hi, I'm here from licensing," they make people's stomach drop, and it's time to maybe stop surviving visit to visit and start living in a state of consistent excellence. Because you shouldn't have to scramble. Your system
No,
should be
you really
ready.
shouldn't.
Yeah, your system should be ready, and reflect on quality. The quality that we promise to families every day. And remember, it's not about perfection, a little bit more about preparation,
Yes.
professionalism, and pride in your work. So next time they show up, just smile, hand them your clipboard, and say, "Welcome on in." So that's it for today on Childcare Directors Chair Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. As always, have a great day.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Childcare Director's Chair, where we believe leaders aren't born, they're grown. If something sparked for you today, share it, shout it out, or pass it along to the next bold changemaker in childcare. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with Erica Sacosio for more real talk leadership tools and a whole lot of inspiration. Until next time, lead with heart, grow with fire, and always remember, the chair is yours. Now own it.